Good morning, welcome to House Mercantile. My name is Gavin and this video is going to be a time lapse with commentary on my large cutting board build. They're boards. There's not much that can go wrong with them. Actually, there's a lot that can go wrong with them. A little bit about the boards before we begin the time lapse. It's a combination of walnut, cherry, and maple, picking two of them and just alternating. The pattern or the sizing of the stripping, because I'm a nerd, is a Fibonacci sequence. We have a 13/16, a 3/8, a 9/16, a 15/16, 1.5, and then 2 7/16, and just alternating it. In this one, I did kind of a gradient, and then on these ones here, we did kind of a split, and it got bigger to smaller. The boards themselves are 12 3/8 by 19 3/4. And then just under an inch thick on these ones here. This one I ran into some issues while planing it. I ran into some issues while planing it, so it had to go a little bit thinner. But it's still a good solid board. I did 2 of these, 2 of these, 2 of these, and then 4 of these ones. They are available on my shop at this point, so if you would like one of them, go ahead and hop on there and help me out. Buy one. Otherwise, here's the time lapse with the commentary. To start off, I'm breaking down the 5/4 walnut, cherry, and maple here at the miter saw into lengths that I can get 2 boards out of, with a little bit extra for snipe for my planer, because I know that's going to be a thing later on. Once I finished cutting it to rough lengths with a little bit of extra, brought it over here to my joiner and jointed one edge. Now this is actually the first time I've really used my joiner because it's been out of tune since I moved it out here. I was getting a curve in the middle of it. My outfeed table was too tall. To finish up my milling process, I then took it over to the table saw and cut off that last rough edge on all the boards before I got set up to cut my thin strips. Now I am doing some layout on the patterns. I did have this first one here in mind when I thought of these boards, and this second one was just me experimenting, but I like the way it turned out too. Stared at it for a while and was like, yep, we'll go ahead and use that one. So we got the glue up happening next, and I've got this nice little roller brush you're going to see. I don't know why it took me so long to buy one of these things. I was a finger or stick glue wiper for the longest times. And then I got a wild hair and go ahead and bought that guy, and I am kicking myself for not getting it sooner. It just makes the gluing up process a lot more efficient and cleaner. You get a nice glue line on there. The only issue that I've had with it is cleanup afterwards. I'm bad and I let it sit there for a couple days and then have to pick it out. If I just washed it after I was done using it, we wouldn't have that problem. Next up, I'm going to go ahead and take it outside. It was a good day after getting everything glued up and scraped. I knew I was going to make a huge sawdust mess, and I don't have a dust collection system set up currently. I'm in the process of building that. So outside it was, set up a table real fast and set up the planer on some blocks so I can send these through. Now, I went from 5/4 on these down to about an inch. There was one board, I think it was the dark on dark, that had a knot that I had to plane out a little bit thinner down. I think it was like 3/4, but it still turned out. Next we had back inside to cut to length, cutting off all the ends and then doing the measurements. I just made a little mark on the sled there of how long I want, because everything's the same width. And on those measurements, I use the golden ratio to get my proportions. So I multiply the width by 1.618, which is part of the golden ratio, to get my length. And it's not always a pretty fraction, so I get as close as I can. Pretty sure if I used metric, it would come out a little bit nicer, but who wants to use metric in the States, right? After cutting the length, we went ahead and round over all the corners. I tried to do a smaller round over on these than I normally do, and it didn't turn out right, so I went back afterwards and did a 1/4 round over on all the sides. I got lucky and didn't have any blowout on the ends. Next was up sanding. I sand with 80, 180, 220, 400. I do a wet pop, and then I sand another 400 before I stamp everything with my brand. Right now I'm just using my initial brand here. I do want to get an additional one that's for House Mercantile. I just haven't figured out a design. After we finished up branding everything and sanding, I used a custom blend of mineral oil and beeswax. A little bit of wax on, wax off action, and I really love the shine that ends up on these after that. I put a heavy thick coat of this stuff on them, kind of layer it there. I've used some cups and some painter pyramids there to keep them circulating, and I'll let them sit for probably a day like this before I actually buff them out, let them absorb all that mineral wax and oil real nice like. Thanks for watching the video. If you want to buy one of these boards, go ahead and over to my shop. Leave a comment or description down about what you thought about my process. And if you want to check out my Instagram, it's down there. And please like, subscribe, and have a great day. Thank you. Bye.